and welcome to episode 2 of Stitch with Susie. I'm Susie and it's SUSIE. I am on Instagram and here on FlossTube. This episode is a Ukraine special. This is my second one and I'm already doing a special. I had got an episode ready with all materials for I wanted to talk about the Jubilee, about my new sampler and hoop design that I designed specifically for the Jubilee, the 70th Jubilee of the Queen this year in the UK. But the war happened. And I believe that it is very important at this time to be talking about Ukraine. The reason why I feel that I can talk about Ukraine is because my husband is Ukrainian. He came over to the UK 30 years ago after the collapse of the Soviet Union. He only came for a year to study English and then he met me. And we got married. And not only that, is that we also lived in Ukraine for 5.5 years. We came back to the UK after the initial conflict, so we came back in 2015. So in today's episode, I just wanted to talk about the richness of Ukrainian embroidery and art in general. I have a few objects behind me, pottery, Ukrainian pottery, and then also just kind of candle decorations and so on. And I just wanted to share with you because unless you have lived there or have a particular interest, a lot of people are not going to know the richness of the art and the beauty of their tradition and everything. And I just don't want to just talk about the war and the negative things, but also how beautiful the Ukrainian heritage, cultural heritage, has come on the scene since they became independent in the 90s. Now, I just want to, so I'm going to talk about embroidery, cross stitch, but first, I mean, you will see that I am actually wearing a beautiful, very beautiful dress. This is a traditional Ukrainian dress, vyshyvanka dress. I ordered this for my daughter's wedding in 2019, so nearly 3 years ago. Our daughter got married to a Korean, and his parents had their traditional costume, traditional dress, and our daughter wanted us to also be in traditional dress. And I'll put a photo at the end. I've not done that before, so hopefully it will work. But this dress we ordered from Ukraine, and the shoulder, just show the shoulder. Oh, I've lost the light now. There. There's no seam here. The seam is down here, and then the balloon sleeve comes down stitched from here. So this is all one piece, and I just want to show you how exquisitely beautiful. This is machine stitched, hence the evenness. It would have just been too expensive to have it, you know, done by hand, and too fragile as well. I can put this in the washing machine. This linen dress, beautifully cool. It was a very hot day, so and I just wanted to wear it because this is just a very, very beautiful piece of clothing. I wore it again at my graduation in October, and very proud, even though I don't have Ukrainian blood, but very proud to be able to wear this traditional dress, and it's really quite long as well. You'll see it in the photo. Now, the other piece of embroidery that I wanted to show you, which is what my husband wore at our daughter's wedding, is the vyshyvanka shirt. And now these are not traditional Ukrainian colors. They're mostly black and red, depending on the regions. But these the collar, the shape is traditional, and these were colours that went with the wedding, so that's why we went for this. So I'm just going to bring it a little bit closer, but you can see how exquisite the work is. And again, this was machine stitched, but it is cross stitch. And here on the cuff of the sleeve, it is just absolutely stunning. And you can't, so it was poppers, so there was no buttons sticking out, and the same up here. My husband isn't very good on wearing ties and our daughter very sweetly didn't want him to be uncomfortable for the wedding, and so she came up with this idea. So we ordered this as well from Ukraine. There, and then sorry, I can't really get the whole picture, but it was just such a joy, and it was just so beautiful to be able to wear this. So I want to read more about the story of the Vyshyvanka. I didn't have time because I really wanted to film this today. So I didn't fully have time to investigate, but that will come through in blog posts and just continuing talking about Ukraine as weeks and months go by. Hopefully this conflict will be, it's not a conflict, this war will be over soon. Any war, any country hopes that a war will be over soon, but we don't know. We can't know. So that was the embroidery that I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you, I'll come back to another piece of embroidery, piece of cross stitch, but I wanted to show you this. This is a print, I forget, plate printing, and this is so I apologize for the reflection, and the detail, it doesn't really come out on the screen, but the detail is just absolutely exquisite. And this is the representation of a piechka, which is like a traditional Ukrainian oven where preserves were done in these big pots. So curds were prepared. My husband's aunties in the village used to prepare their curds in that way after milking their goats. And then these big like forks hook around the top of the pots, and they go straight into the fire. And then around you've got loads of different symbols. I love the little chicken down here, and I've often looked at it and thought, oh, that would be so nice to do as like an embroidery, and to at least take some elements, but I haven't done it yet. I might do it. It would be an intricate piece, and yeah, so, but this is I had my 40th when we were living in Ukraine, and my husband bought this for me, and the author, the artist signed with his thumbprint or his fingerprint. The framing itself is just absolutely beautiful. There's an embossed like hut, Ukrainian hut. You can't see it, and because of the reflections, I'm afraid. But this is a piece that is very precious. It's just very different art, and this lives in our kitchen. So I also have another painting, and that was for my husband's 40th that I got for him. And again, food and drink, and you know, the hospitality. Ukrainian people are very hospitable, and this was it caught both our eyes. We walked in the marketplace, and this is the piece that we were able to buy. This is an oil painting, so you've got the bread, you've got the eggs, radishes, onion, and then sala, which is lard. It's not something that my husband liked eating, except as a child he had memories of eating it fresh, and it was very, very tasty. When he left Ukraine in 1992, that was the only food his parents had in the fridge. They had a jar filled with sala, and he left Ukraine. His father worked 6 months to get a ticket for him to fly over to the UK. And so this is, there's a lot of meaning for him in here. And then these are kind of the kind of pots, clay pots. And then here, sorry, I'll just go the other side. Here you have a cloth which is embroidered, again traditional Ukrainian embroidery, very pretty, very beautiful. So this is a piece that also is in our kitchen, very meaningful to us. We very much love it. So yeah, so that's kind of the art side, painting side. I also wanted to show you some pottery. So there's this pottery here. We use it for our oats, and I'll just show you a close-up. It's just stunning. And we've eaten in traditional Ukrainian restaurants with traditional foods, and I've just enjoyed eating off these beautiful, beautiful pottery dishes, you know, and spoons and so on. So again, I've got some photographs that I will insert at the end because they're so beautiful. Another piece of pottery is, this is a bowl. We've got a set of 6, and they all have a different pattern inside. So this, it's the way the slip has been kind of put on and then flicked so that it looks like flowers. The colours are very vibrant. Unfortunately, it's not a very pleasant inside to eat with. It scrapes, so it's a little bit but it is very pretty. And we use them for sweets, or if we have a special meal with friends, we'll use them as serving dishes rather than eating dishes. Now, another little piece of art, I don't think I would call it art, but it certainly has artistic qualities, is this very, very simple frame that I had bought for my mother. And when she moved to my brother's in the summer, and she didn't have room to take it with her, so I got it back. But what it is so this has been hand embroidered. It's just simple cross stitch, and this is a pechka that I talked about, the oven, and then the little window. But this is, if you can see, it's not stitched on, it's ceramic, and then it's just got a white slip on it, and it's just, you have all these beautiful flowers. Here is kind of like an embroidered cloth that is used as curtain, and it's very, very simple, very, yes, it is art actually. I am going to call it art because it is. The simplicity doesn't mean that it's not art. And we bought this 2011 at the marketplace. It just really caught my eye, and yeah, so very pretty. And then the name of the artist at the back. So I'm very happy to have this in my own home now. Another piece of pottery is this one, and this is 3D. It's slightly different. It's not the same as this traditional these traditional patterns, but it's a 3D piece. So I'll just put it to the side, and you can see here you've got the flowers, the fence, the pots. Now, I just earlier speaking about the pots, the curds being cooked in the pechka. And what happens is that once they've cleaned them, they would put them on the top of the fence, upside down, to dry them. And so this is what this is, these pots that are on the top of a fence. You find it here as well. Actually, I just remembered this, sorry. Here. You've got the fence, and then you've got a pot that's upside down. And then you've got the sunflower, and this is a little Ukrainian man in his vyshyvanka. Actually, just also remember, you can, there, you can see the the design has been captured on the shirt here. So we've got the same kind of the sunflower that you've got here. We have it here, and then the huts. Pigs, because pork, yeah, is the meat in Ukraine. And then cherries, they love their cherries. Lots of cherry trees, and in June you just, you know, walk in the village, you pick, you eat. So yeah. And then here you have, I've forgotten the name of it, but it's a cloth that's embroidered at either end, and you can buy them on Etsy from Ukraine. And what it's used as, mine, I have one, but unfortunately it's in Ukraine. We weren't able to bring it back. It's still in storage. Will we ever get those things back? I don't know. But it's a long cloth which has embroidery at the end, either end. And when you get married, it's put down on the floor, and the couple stand on it and exchange their vows or prayers, or, you know, depending on the tradition. And so we had that at our wedding. That was the little bit of Ukrainian tradition that we could bring into our wedding ceremony. And it was beautifully embroidered. This was embroidered by Sasha's aunties. They've now all passed away. There were 3 sisters who lived together. One's in the village who cooked their curds in the vichka and so on. And so that is very, very precious. As I say, unfortunately we weren't able to bring it back with us, otherwise I would have shown it to you. But it's just exquisite. The colours, the workmanship, and I feel very, very privileged to have a piece like that. And then in the villages, now I don't know what happens in the towns, but in the villages what happens is that this cloth is then hung around a usually large picture frame of, it can be an embroidery, it can be a painting, and they just hang it, and then the patterns just hang on either side. So again, it's displayed in the homes, and I was really privileged to be able to see a traditional Ukrainian hut. The way, you know, the rugs on the floor, just literally over clay floors, heating with the birchka. So one side of the room is the living room, and it heats the living room, and then the other side of this fireplace is the kitchen, and where they cooked all the food. Very few of these huts still exist. That hut, that in particular hut, which was the family hut, has been just completely changed, and all those elements of traditional elements no longer exist. I just wanted to show you something that you'll probably be familiar with, and they're the matryoshki. Now they're traditionally called Russian dolls over here, and I've got a set of 3, but these are slightly different, and they are Ukrainian. They are not Russian, they are Ukrainian. And you can see, the way you can see it is the long plait, and then the ribbons here around the crown. And then you've got the embroidery, which is on the shoulder here, and then around the neck. So that would be like here. And then this one is, you know, I was talking to you about the cloth on which we stood at the wedding. This represents bread, and it's this cloth again that is there. Traditionally, we didn't have it at our wedding, but traditionally the couple is met by the parents of both the husband and the wife, and they are given bread and salt, and that is a welcome in the family. There might be slight variations from region to region, but that is the idea. So this kind of welcoming in the family, and the bread and the salt will be that will be kind of covering the elements. So that's the first one. The second one here is with the little sunflower, so she's holding a sunflower. And then the little baby one, she's got also just a different embroidery here, and she's holding an apple. Yeah, so these are my beloved little matryoshki that I've had for years, and I just really love them because they're very carefully painted, and they're typically Ukrainian. So before I speak about the war, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but how we as stitchers can help Ukraine, how we can bring awareness and so on, I just wanted to share something that I had stitched, and this is kind of my family, our family sampler or wedding stitching, except that I stitched it about 17 or 18 years after we got married, because when we got married I didn't know what to stitch. I didn't know, I'd stitched this piece for my sister, and I stitched another piece for my brother, which I'll show in a further episode, as we're going to go and visit in a few weeks' time, and I'll be able to show you. But some of you might be familiar with the Proverbs 31 sampler. This was an American sampler that my sister wanted to have, wanted me to stitch for her wedding. Now, my copy is literally falling to pieces, and yeah, that's the pattern. And so I stitched it as is for my sister, and I really enjoyed stitching it, but it was like, these were kind of like little, I think they're Quaker little people, and so that was a lot more American. My sister had lived there, her husband had visited a lot, but my husband and I, didn't have any links with America, so it was like, this doesn't really represent us. So when we lived in Ukraine, when we moved there in 2010, we thought we were going to live there forever and grow old there and so on. Life happened, politicals, you know, just, it didn't happen. But because my husband is Ukrainian, because we'd lived there, I decided actually I can take this sampler and I can substitute the little people for Ukrainian, traditional Ukrainian, like, you know, kind of change it. And this is what came out. So as I say, I haven't framed it, but the light might not be very, very good. But you can see here, this is the little Cossack traditional dress, and you've got the vyshyvanka. This one has embroidery all down the sleeves. You've got the little lady with the crown of flowers and ribbons. Here you've got ribbons, they're not hair, it looks, it's not very good with the light. I'm so disappointed. It doesn't show up as well. So the text I kept in English, so it's a whole of Proverbs 31, Virtuous Woman. But this was one of our cats, Sunny. Where's the other one? There was another one. Oh, here. That was Marie. And I just changed some elements to make them more Ukrainian. So this is a little hut, this as well. This is a Soviet hut. It's not the traditional thatched roof hut, because a lot of the huts in the village are no longer traditional ones, but they're Soviet ones, and so they have this grey asbestos roofing and then very bright blue windows painted, and then this is a little, it's a Ukrainian, in this one it's a cardinal, but this one I forget what bird it is, sorry. I don't remember, but yeah, this is So, and then I just love it. And then here you've got the little jars, bunkers for to food preservation for the winter. So yeah, I just wanted to share this piece with you, which I love very much. So there you go. I hope you like it. So before I close, I wanted to just encourage you to be aware, to be informed. There's a lot of news that is misinformation on social media. Don't get caught up in that, but find reliable sources of information, so from the Ukrainian government, from charities that are trustworthy, and get the information from them. So that's just a warning. Be very, very careful of what you read, what you hear. Check it. Don't repost if there's a kind of a question mark over it. We want to have correct information. So another way, so that's just for kind of like the side of social media. Then there is a book that I would recommend. This is nothing to do with stitching, but it is a book called Borderland, and very, very good, and it gives you a background and of the history of Ukraine, a journey through the history of Ukraine. And if you really want to understand why Ukraine is so fiercely fighting for their independence, and it's not just linked with Russia, it's not just linked with the Soviet Union, it goes way back before then. Read this book. I think you can get it on Amazon. Look at second-hand bookshops like World of Books, that's one in England, Blackwell's as well, supporting those businesses, not just the big Amazon guy, but this is a very, very good source of information and help to understand the background. And Ukraine has been invaded by many, many nations over the centuries, and so what is happening now is just really important for their own dignity, and it's so important for Ukraine to be independent. So this is the book. I'll put the link below, so that you can, if you want to order it, it might even be on Audible. I don't know. Check it out. It might be on Audible or in your library. Check out the library as well. And it's really worth the read. Good source of information. Another way you can, it's not just bringing awareness, but you can show your support, solidarity with Ukrainians. Now there are loads of protests, and people are buying from Ukrainian businesses. Yes, go on, continue with that. That is excellent. Like on Etsy, in the cross-stitch community, they might not be able to get the funds straight away. Money will be needed if they need to flee, if they need to leave in a hurry, they will need the money. And so all these designers go on Etsy, buy from their businesses, support them in that way. I've heard of people buying just like clothing or kits or things like that, and with a note saying, do not send it to me, I'm not buying it for you to send it, I just want you to get the funds. And you know that the funds go to that designer, to those people, and they help each other. They there are loads of refugees that have come in from the east, traveling over to the west. They need to be fed, they need medication, and all these things. So Ukrainians won't just take the money and just hold on to it, they will share it with those around them. So that is a way that you can really show solidarity. Now, another way, very, very simple and very inexpensive to show solidarity is to wear ribbons. Now, these particular ribbons, they're just very simple ribbons, but I found them in my ribbon box. When I find a ribbon, I just shove it in there. And these were actually from 2014, when we lived in Ukraine. And we did a children's camp and a youth camp, and they all had these ribbons. So we just cut lengths, and then they just wore them. I'll just show you, just so kind of about 50 centimeter length, and then they tied them to their coats or their bags, rucksacks, along the belt, and it was just so significant. Sadly, I never thought that I would need to pull these ribbons out, even though the conflict has been going on for 8 years. Now it's turned into a war, and I never thought that that would happen. It's just been such a shock, and so. But wear ribbons. Go to Hobbycraft if you're in the States, to Hobby Lobby, any craft. I went and I got some yesterday. Just these are the kind of they're closer to the flag, Ukrainian flag, than these. But it doesn't matter. Get blue, get yellow, and wear them. Put it in your hair, put it on your bags, put it on your key rings, crochet, knit, do whatever. Bring those colours out and show solidarity with Ukrainians around the world. Just for stitches, if you want to stitch, again, you pick whichever yellow, whichever blue. But the Ukrainian flag has a hex colour for the blue and for the green. And the closest colours in embroidery floss, sorry, I'm just here, are 444 and 797. These are the closest, so this is in DMC. I'm not sure what I don't know, the Madeira or Anchor or in any other brands, but the DMC, I'll just say again, and I'll put it underneath in the description. So 444 for the yellow and 797. So these are the closest hex colours to the Ukrainian flag. Talking of Ukrainian flag, this I just wanted to share a design that I designed this about 3 or 4 years ago. I did a whole collection of flags, researched in the size, so some are 3 by 5, some are 1 by 2, others 3 by 4. I didn't realise that flags had different sizes, and I did just several nations, and the Ukrainian one was the first one that I did, and I sold a few. It was just as a PDF download, and this is my own pattern, so I don't mind showing it to you, and because I don't have a picture of it. Oh no, actually I'll put a digital picture here. And so what I am doing with this, I just need to prepare the files. I'm going to sell that on my Etsy shop at the moment. Eventually I'll put it on my own website, and this pattern, 100% of the profits after my Etsy fees will go to the British Red Cross. So if you want to support Ukraine, buy this pattern, stitch it, and you can use the hashtag Stitch for Ukraine. There's another FlossTuber, Laura. I can't remember the name of her FlossTube, but her name is Laura. Look under the hashtag Stitch for Ukraine. You can also use the word Stitching for Ukraine. I haven't had time to stitch it. I've just made a tiny start, but I haven't had time to stitch it. But just you know, by buying this pattern, you will be supporting the British Red Cross, who are very involved, have been involved in Ukraine for a long time. They help the military, they help their humanitarian aid, medicines, just in general, you know. So if you want to support in a practical way, you can buy this pattern, and then the 100% of the profits will go to the British Red Cross, and then I'll leave that on for as long as. I'm not going to have it just for a few days. I would just leave that on, and then you can continually support. Now, maybe you might think, oh, well, I'm not a stitcher, or I want to share this with my family. They're not stitchers. They're not going to buy a stitching, a pattern. That's fine. That's not a problem. Find a charity. I know for Canada there's lots of Ukrainian Canadians. In America, every country will have them. Go to the government website or Ukrainian embassy of your country, their website, and they will be able to tell you how you can support, how you can be engaged, what you can do to help. Now, you might not be able to be helping physically, you might not be able to help financially, but you can show solidarity by wearing those ribbons. And if you are a person who is praying, who prays, I would ask you to pray. Pray for the people of Ukraine, pray for the military, that they will be strong, that they will be able to break through and regain those territories and those areas that have been taken over by the Russians. And the way my husband and I have been praying is that the Russian army will be confused. We don't hate them. They're people. They're following orders. Again, I don't want to get political here in any way, but their leader is not right in the head. And he needs to go. He should have retired years ago. I'm not going to say anymore, otherwise I'll just get a bit too passionate about this. But yeah, the way we have been praying is that the Russian army will be confused. There are reports of tanks running out of petrol, of diesel, and Ukrainians are taking road signs down, and these soldiers don't know where they're going. These are things that we can do from where we live. We don't have to be there in person. And also, one last thing I would say is, if you have Ukrainian friends, if you have Ukrainian colleagues, ask them how they are. Ask them how their families are. It means so much. Hearing, even if you haven't been in touch for 5 years, it doesn't matter. Drop a text, a message on Facebook if you're on Facebook, an Instagram message. However, just contact them and just let them know we're with you, we're thinking of you, we're praying for you. Again, if you're the praying type. Ask them about their family, if they're safe. Ask them, I made some notes here. Show them love, show them care. Let them talk, let them cry. Don't try to fix it, because you can't fix it. Just let them pour it out. I know my husband, his heart is just completely shattered, and he's so numb, and it's like, no, this isn't happening. This is a movie. We're going to wake up. This is just a nightmare. This isn't real. This is 2022. We're not at war. It's not possible. And yet it has happened. So, yeah, just show love and care to Ukrainians around you. And also, don't show hatred to Russians. A lot of Russians are against the government. A lot of them have protested, are protesting. With the sanctions, it'll be hard enough for them. Don't hate them. And Russians in this country as well, or in your country, wherever you are, show love, show kindness, because it's embarrassing for them. A lot of them will be very, very embarrassed and not know where to put themselves. So yeah, I just want to encourage you with that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you've learnt a little bit. This is something that has come really from my heart. I wanted to share with you, about the cultural heritage, or the little bit of cultural heritage that I have in my own home with you about Ukraine. I apologise for the lighting. It's just, as the sun has gone down, it's just messed everything up. But Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next time. Happy stitching. Bye.